Yes, sir. I would be happy to do that. I mean, I knew Trump was going to fix TikTok, but I didn't expect it that quick. So let's start with the Prohaska versus Jamal Hill fight. I think one of the things MMA you got to get used to, and it's very difficult. You know, in fighting sports, everybody says keep your hands up, keep your hands up, and it's not that keeping your hands up isn't a very important thing. Obviously, it is, but there's no big gloves like there is in Muay Thai, like there is in boxing to catch punches with, right? Like catching punches almost doesn't exist in MMA, which makes the karate style of head movement and moving your feet a lot more important than keeping your hands up. And I just think it's something people got to get used to, because, in a silo, boxing and kickboxing, you better keep your hands up, right? But as you get into MMA, it changes. Even in Muay Thai and boxing, it's very different. In boxing, your elbows are on your body, your hands are right by your chin. In Muay Thai, it's not like that at all. Often they're fully extended. So Prohaska beating Jamal Hill, that was very MMA style. And let's face it, in MMA, you got to be able to take some punches. And that's what Prohaska was able to do against Hill. Great fight, and I love the karate style. I'm a karateka after all. Umar versus Davashili. Listen, Umar wasn't ready. There's this feeling we want youth to prevail. We want the contender to win because that's what dreams are made of. But Davashili is an absolute beast, and he won that fight fair and square. We should have actually known that, except we get excited about youth. We get excited about the young guy, and Davashili won very clearly. The main event, Moicano. Moicano had something going for him that was very important. Moicano had it on a moment's notice, which means there was no pressure on him. That having been said, no pressure doesn't equate to beating a guy who's far superior. Moicano looked great lately, but he looked great against guys that were mid-range. He didn't look great against guys that were top of the heap. So Islam keeps that title. As far as Umar goes and Peyton Talbot, let's say this, guys. Oftentimes we want people to be ready for things before they are. Peyton Talbot and Umar was the same thing. It was this contender that we love, the young guy, and he's going to fulfill all the dreams that we didn't fulfill. Well, guess what? Sometimes you rush those guys. They're not ready for the moment. And when you don't rush them, you got to choose very carefully. Mike Tyson was manicured and moved in a very, very deliberate manner. And they almost blew it a couple times. They almost blew it against James Quick Tillis. Even Mitch Green, they had to make him a shell of himself to be able to get Mike Tyson to make sure he dominated that fight. Jose Ribalta did real well against him until they stopped it early. So guys like Umar, guys like Peyton, they were not ready for the big time. Doesn't mean they won't be ready forever. It just means then they weren't ready. But what a card, man. Awesome. I hope it keeps going like this. Everybody read my book, Warrior of the Light.